Today, we're diving into one of the great business stories of our time. It's a classic tale of David versus Goliath, a tiny startup that took on an industry giant and against all odds completely rewrote the rules of home entertainment. This is how Netflix beat Blockbuster. To really get this story, we have to rewind a bit, back to the 1990s. Before streaming was even a word, a movie night meant a trip to the video store. And for almost everyone, one brand was king. For millions of people, that bright blue and yellow ticket stub was just synonymous with watching a movie at home. But then, in 1997, a small startup called Netflix came along with a completely different vision. The idea seemed so simple, almost insignificant at first, sending DVDs through the mail. But that little idea would eventually be the one that brought an entire industry to its knees. And that really brings us to the core question of this whole story. What actually happens when a new, nimble idea goes head-to-head with a massive, established empire? Well, this rivalry gives us one of the clearest answers you'll ever find in business history. So, that empire we're talking about was, of course, Blockbuster. In its heyday, it wasn't just a company, it was a cultural institution. It absolutely dominated the home entertainment market and pretty much defined how millions of families spent their weekends. And its dominance wasn't just an idea, it was physical. I mean, at its peak, Blockbuster had over 9,000 stores all across the globe. This massive retail footprint was its greatest strength, giving it this incredible market presence that made it seem totally invincible. But here's the catch. The very foundation of Blockbuster's success was also its greatest vulnerability. We're talking about late fees. These penalties for not returning a movie on time were a huge source of revenue for the company. The model was incredibly profitable, but it came at a serious cost. And that cost was just customer goodwill. People absolutely despise late fees. It created this constant friction and frustration. So while Blockbuster was making a fortune, it was also building up this deep well of customer resentment and basically leaving the door wide open for a competitor to walk right in. And that competitor arrived right on cue in 1997. Netflix was founded on an idea that was designed to solve the one thing everyone hated about Blockbuster. It was a completely new way of thinking about renting movies, one that was really built for the digital age that was just starting to emerge. Just look at how fundamentally different the two models were. Where Blockbuster had physical stores, Netflix was online and used the mail. Instead of paying for each rental, Netflix introduced the idea of a monthly subscription. And, of course, the killer difference. While Blockbuster punished customers with late fees, Netflix had none. Their entire model was built around convenience. This brings us to a really pivotal moment, back in the year 2000. Netflix, still a pretty small and struggling startup, approaches the giant, Blockbuster. But they don't come as a competitor, they come with a proposal for a partnership. This meeting would go down as one of the most infamous turning points in corporate history. The offer on the table was for Blockbuster to buy Netflix for $50 million. Now, looking back, that sounds like the deal of the century, right? But you have to remember, at the time, Netflix was just this fledgling online service, and Blockbuster was the undisputed king of the world. The proposal itself was actually incredibly logical. The idea was simple. Let Netflix become Blockbuster's online arm. Netflix would manage the mail-order business and anything that happened on the internet, while Blockbuster would continue to run its brick-and-mortar stores. It was a perfect blend of the old and the new. But Blockbuster's leadership just laughed them out of the room. They rejected the offer. They saw the mail-order business as a tiny niche market. But more importantly, partnering with a company that had no late fees would directly threaten their single biggest cash cow. It was a classic case of protecting existing profits, and it blinded them to the future. They let the future of entertainment walk right out the door. After that fateful meeting, the two companies went down dramatically different paths. Netflix was forced to go it alone, and they doubled down on innovation. Blockbuster, on the other hand, comfortable with its market dominance, chose inertia. It just kept protecting its old, profitable business model. This timeline really shows you just how quickly everything changed. That rejection in 2000 was a catalyst, but the real game changer came in 2007, when Netflix launched its online streaming service. That one move made the physical DVD, and by extension, the video store, feel increasingly obsolete. Just 3 years after that, Blockbuster was bankrupt. And this reveals the central irony of Blockbuster's fall. Its huge network of over 9,000 stores, which was once its greatest strategic advantage, became a massive financial liability. Maintaining all that expensive real estate was a heavy burden in a world that was moving online, a world where Netflix operated digitally with almost no physical assets to weigh it down. So why did this giant fall so hard and so fast? The story of Netflix and Blockbuster is more than just a business rivalry. It's a powerful lesson in just how important it is to adapt and the incredible dangers of getting complacent. When you boil it down, the key takeaways are crystal clear. Blockbuster's over-reliance on a single profitable model was fatal. Its decision to ignore new technology was a monumental strategic mistake. Netflix proved that customer convenience is a powerful disruptive force, and that you have to keep innovating, not just to grow, but to survive. Ultimately, a company's willingness to adapt is far more valuable than its current market share. And that leaves us with a final, provocative thought to chew on. Looking at the corporate landscape today and knowing what we now know about disruption and adaptation, which massive, dominant company might just be the Blockbuster of our time?
This is CorpFile, inside the world of big brands. Subscribe to explore the real stories behind the companies that shape our world.